There's an unwritten rule in relationships that go a little something like, I'm going to protect your heart and you're going to protect mine. And in that, it's assumed that you care about my feelings. In the event I feel emotionally unsafe, I should be able to bring this to you. If I do, and you are not emotionally supportive, you are not upholding your end of the bargain. You are falling short. And this is where conflict resolution becomes very important. This is about to be a million parts. I can already tell you I'm about to go off. Your ability to conflict resolve is measured by how well you are able to resolve someone else's issue when they bring it to you. That is the only metric that matters. In my opinion, of course. Are you able to lead us to resolution if I bring an issue to you? How many times have you resolved an issue that somebody else brought to you? My opinion is that a lot of people are running into a capacity problem, in that their partner does not possess the capacity to A, resolve issues in a systematic way, and B, does not have the capacity to fit an entire human in their head with their caveats and deviations. And if you're going through this, I'm so sorry. I've not had to deal with this in a very long time, but I really do feel for you. It's a capacity problem on their end that winds up being the rate limiting step every time that they do not understand they are the common denominator in. And the little slogan they like to pitch is, you're the one that always has the issue, so you're the problem. I'm so sorry if you're dealing with this. And I would advise you to say, seems like you got it all figured out, and then never interact with them again. But for the purposes of this video, I am going to explain the capacity problem and why it won't change within the system until they're removed. Now, for long-term relationships, this is a bit trickier to explain because problems in long-term relationships are multifactorials and things build over time. But for the sake of simplification in this video, we're talking about a newer relationship where there are things that are happening that you just shouldn't be letting go. Person A brings person B a grievance to resolve. Now, of course, we're equals in relationships, but here person A is looking to person B to be a leader and address their issue. And in relationships, leadership and taking turns being the leader is important. And that's a necessary action each separate person needs to take at separate times in the relationship. And if you don't get that premise, then this video is not for you. It can't be that person A is upset, and because of that, now person B is like, well, now the fact that you're upset is making me upset, so now you have to tend to me. That isn't a system for resolution, that's a recipe for disaster. So the loose understanding is when person A has a problem, I can bring it to person B to resolve. Person A can't participate equally because person B is the one with the opportunity to do something actionable. So person B has to participate more than 50% while person A has to participate less than 50%. So they're not participating equally, therefore taking on a leadership role. And this is all to improve the system. None of this should be hard to grasp thus far. I'll give you some concrete examples. You go to meet my parents, blackout drunk, and now my parents hate you. Or you and me have been dating for an entire month, and every single day of this month I have brought up my ex-boyfriend. Say you want to get to the bottom of why I can't stop bringing up my ex-boyfriend. Now, these situations should be pretty obvious who the offending partner B is. Let's forego the obvious option to dump these people, and you just want to parlay it. You're like, we're gonna take this all the way, like I think this is the one, I want to get past this. Partner A does not shoulder equal responsibility in rectifying these situations. Partner A should be able to lean on partner B and rely on partner B to resolve things without too much difficulty. Now, if partner B cannot shoulder this, you're running into a capacity problem. They are the rate limiting factor regardless of what you input. And people like to complicate this issue when it is not complicated. They can either solve the problem or piss on your leg and tell you it's rain. And there are so many ways to not solve a problem, including giving you the right answer to the wrong question. Because context matters and people like to pretend it doesn't. Well, I love you. Right answer, wrong question. Like that's the right answer to something for sure. Wrong question here, though. I'm so sorry. Another right answer, wrong question. We're answering the wrong question. And it takes a bit of third order thinking during this process because you want to be agreeable and be like someone that's paving the road to resolution as well. You don't want to be a hindrance to it, but you need to have some clarity over whether your problem is being addressed when it isn't. And if they get upset at this and they turn it around on you, say your approach sucked, they start stonewalling you, they give you the silent treatment, they say that you're derailing the resolution, you have to wonder why. And you should land on this is a capacity problem. You are running into a stone wall, an emotionally dumb stone wall. And there's not much you can do about it. You could say I'm being rigid, but this is the most linear way to resolve issues. Problems are best handled one at a time. It's the simple, most logical system. And I love you, I'm sorry, all great, but are you going to apologize to my parents? Are you gonna stop talking about your ex-boyfriend? Are you gonna block him or at the very least stop making me uncomfortable? Or are you gonna make a straw man argument and throw red herrings at me? Are you going to tell me, well, you weren't sober either, or you've talked about an ex before too, or you're really emotionally reactive for me being upset at any of it? Because once again, leadership is important, and introducing new issues with very little exception is making the road to resolution smoother, and it's very emotionally unaware to do so. And it shows poor leadership on their behalf. The system within which you operate is very important, and if they don't understand that, they are the rate limiting factor. Once again, this has nothing to do with rigidity. You need to be able to fit an entire human being in your head. If we pause discussion to discuss person B's issue on Sunday and we have an acute issue with person A on Thursday, we're not going to say, hey, I'm giving you the silent treatment until Sunday. They need to be addressed. You triage that until it's stable. You have a discussion about person B on Sunday, and then you have the discussion about person A on Monday. Who cares? It requires third order thinking that not everyone possesses. If someone's gonna say, but no, I'm person B and like mine isn't addressed and we have to wait till Sunday to eat, like, capacity problem. It's hard for people to wrap their mind around emotional intelligence and what it means. And even explaining this concept of lack of capacity is emotionally laborious. Explaining to people why you're upset is emotionally laborious. And you can tell that to someone, and you'll bring an issue to that person, and they won't like how it feels to hear your issue with them, and they'll say, oh, it's emotionally laborious to be approached that way. Once again, great point, wrong conversation. That is quotation mining. That is a logical fallacy. They'll do it and be like, use that word, two can play that game, and you'll just be like, if this video resonated with you at all, do not show it to them. No. This was a very circumlocucious way to say some people are too dumb to argue with, and perhaps to have relationships with. Some people are lost causes, and it would behoove you to move on. But who am I to judge? I have before moved in a way that has not behooved me. So, good luck.